Let's go. Awesome. Okay. So today we're going to look at reporting verbs for C1, okay, advanced. So instead of using say or tell for level B2 and definitely for level C1, we need to start thinking about replacing say and tell with other verbs. So these other verbs are called reporting verbs. We're going to look at the verb and to plus infinitive. So the reporting verbs that take to plus infinitive. Reporting verbs allow us to express far more than the simple content of what someone said. They reveal commitment, intention, and authority, persuasion, obligation, and emotion. One of the most important patterns at C1 level is the verb plus to plus infinitive structure. Hello, Saska. How's it going? Happy Thursday. Okay, so although the verbs in this group have different meanings, they all share one important characteristic. Okay? Hello, Madalena. Long time no see. So the subject of both verbs is the same person. So that's important to remember here. The subject of both verbs is the same person. So we're going to be able to shorten the sentence by using a different reporting verb instead of said. The person who speaks is also the person who performs the action. So we don't need to repeat them. This pattern is particularly common in journalism, business English, politics, and academic writing because it allows information to be reported concisely without repeating an entire clause. So always with C1, we're looking for ways to make sentences shorter. Well, not necessarily shorter. We can have a long sentence, but we're looking to get maximum use of our words and not repeating ourselves. So the first example is the government pledged to reduce public spending over the next 5 years. So there you go. There's your first reporting verb. It's pledge. To pledge. It's a regular verb. Pledge, pledged, pledged. So imagine if I just put here say or said, no? If I said, I would need to include an object. Said to the people that they would reduce, and then I would have to eliminate to, that they would reduce public spending over the next 5 years. So you can see I'm making this sentence longer. But if I go back and I just change to the verb pledge, now I don't need to repeat the government again. So the government pledged to reduce public spending over the next 5 years. So Vikki, what does pledge mean? Pledge is a serious promise or a formal promise. So it's another way to say promise, to pledge. Now, the next example, the company undertook to compensate customers affected by the data breach. So this is an irregular verb. It's undertake. Undertake, undertook, and you can imagine the next one, undertaken, isn't it? Like take, took, taken. So undertake, undertook, undertaken. What does it mean? This is also a promise. So it's a promise that you will do something even if it will take a long time or be difficult. Hello, Camilo. What platform are you using? I'm using TikTok, I think, Camilo. Is that what you mean? As far as I know, I'm using TikTok. So the company undertook to compensate. This is like the company promised to compensate customers affected by the data breach. So that's even if it takes a long time, saying that it's going to be difficult. English for all. How do I join your lessons? You're in the lesson now, I think. Hello, Hyro. Hey, how's it going? Thanks so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. Next example. Several countries agreed to strengthen economic cooperation. This one is a bit easier, no? agree to. Hey, Mr. Foster. This one is agree to. This one is a bit easier. Maybe this one is more for level B2. And undertake and pledge are for C1 for sure. I'm going to put it here actually. I think it's useful for you to know. So agree is a bit easier. You agreed to do something. So several countries agreed to strengthen economic cooperation. Hello, Cassia. So we know like the point here is you have to say agree to strengthen. You can't say agree strengthen and you can't say agree strengthening. After agree, you have to write to plus infinitive. So several countries agreed to strengthen economic cooperation. Camilo? No, I mean the one where you're writing. Is it a specific platform to learn? Or is it just Word? It's just Word, Camilo. It's just Word. Okay, the next one. Each sentence reports both what was said and what the speaker intends to do. The most common verbs in this group are, okay, maybe I'll put this here in case you guys want to take a screenshot. Cool. Thanks, Cassia. Thanks, Nasi. So if you want to take a screenshot of these ones, look, the most common verbs in this group are agree, offer, promise, refuse, threaten, volunteer, undertake, pledge, and guarantee. I think undertake, pledge, and guarantee are more for C1. Okay? Then you have vow. So what is a vow? This is also a type of promise, similar to promise and pledge. Vow is a determined decision or a determined promise to do something. Like when you marry someone, during the ceremony, you make your vows. No? What is it like? In sickness and in health, until death do us part, and all of this. These are your vows. Some people write their own vows. It's like a determined promise that you make to the person. Then we have consent and commit. Unlike promise, which is common in both spoken and written English, pledge, undertake, and vow are much more formal and frequently appear in newspapers and official statements. For example, the president pledged to restore public confidence in the justice system. The contractor undertook to complete the restoration before the end of the financial year. The environmental organization vowed to challenge the proposal in court. You hear vow a lot, guys, if you watch series or movies like Harry Potter or Star Wars or something. You know, they make vows. I vow to have my revenge. No, it's like a determined promise that you're going to do something. Mr. Foster, what's the temperature where you are, guys? Here is 35. 35 in Ukraine. Wow. Amelia, could this be an example? The president of the US, you must put the article before US. You have to say the president of the USA vowed to protect the country. Yes, Amelia, good job. It's correct. Is it? Yeah. Okay. Next one. The university guaranteed to refund tuition circumstances. The charity committed to providing long-term support for displaced families. Displaced families, guys, do you know what it is? It's like if there's a flood or a fire or something. Amelia, thanks, I remember about the article. That's awesome. Yeah, before the USA, when you have like a group of things, for example, islands, you always use the article. So the USA is a group of states. So you must say the United States because it's a plural group. Or the Canary Islands. You have to put the. Hey, Roxo. Yeah, relocated families. Exactly. That's it. Displaced families, relocated. That's it. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so agree simply means that someone accepts a proposal or reaches a mutual decision. The Philippines, Roxo. That's it exactly. That's it. I was thinking that the Philippines, great example, because it's a group of islands. The Philippines doesn't have like 7,000 islands or something like that, and something crazy. After months of negotiations, both sides finally agreed to resume diplomatic relations. Roxa, yeah, it's many, many islands in the Philippines. Offer expresses willingness without implying obligation. So if you offer to do something, you're not obligated to do it. You're just being nice and doing it because you want to do it. Several local businesses offered to provide temporary accommodation for the evacuees. Hello, Alina. Evacuees. Nice word, guys. Then promise. So promise creates a personal obligation, very different to an offer. The manufacturer promised to replace every defective product free of charge. We studied last week at no extra cost, right? Next one for C1, pledge. Pledge sounds considerably stronger and is commonly associated with governments, charities, political parties, and public institutions. For example, the administration pledged to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050 or 2050. Hello, Passport. Then, undertake for you C1 guys is particularly common in contracts, okay? Particularly common in contracts, legal English, and formal business communication. The supplier undertook to deliver all outstanding orders within 30 days. Jason, hey Jason, tips to improve my speed fluency. I'm C1. Wow, good job for getting to C1. Your speed and your fluency. I think speed and fluency, Jason, is just probably being in an English-speaking environment, speaking with native speakers. I think that's the best way, honestly. At no cost is formal, right? Yeah, it can be, Mr. Foster. Yeah, Amelia, for example, the politicians often pledge, but Amelia, we're studying now. Pledge. Oh yeah, okay. No, that sentence doesn't work now, Amelia, for different reasons. I think you want to use a noun. You see, the pledge can also be a noun, but you have to say make a pledge. And then you need a preposition before holding. So you could say, for example, the politicians often make pledges by holding their hand over the Bible. Otherwise, what we're studying today is the verb pledge, and then the next verb needs to be to with infinitive. So it could be the politicians often pledge to reduce inflation. For example, do you understand? Golden, pledge is this same as promise, yes. Yes, but it's a more determined promise, a more serious promise. Roxo, undertook as in took over, no, not as in took over. They're totally different verbs. Take over is a phrasal verb or a noun. Undertook is different. Undertook means promise. Took over means to take control or to pass a car in the street. Amelia, okay, now I get it because the second verb needs to be, and yes, exactly, Amelia, yeah. If you're using it as a verb, but pledge can also be a noun, but it needs to be to make a pledge. Same as promise. Promise can also be a noun. Okay. On to the next one. So threaten introduces a possible negative action if certain conditions are not met. Okay. Vikki, is undertake pledge equals commit? He undertook to. You'd have to say, he made a commitment, or he committed to. Committed, you could do, yeah. They're all similar. They're all similar, Hyro, but they give a different feeling. You know, like vow is very, very serious. So if you use vow instead of undertake or promise in some situations, it could sound a bit strange. they all give like a different feeling, a different interpretation. That's why they're in level C1, because you're controlling the impression, the strength of the language, because you're going to have an impact on the person who's listening to you. Roxo, take over somebody's responsibilities. You can take over somebody's responsibilities, and it could be a big undertaking. You know, Golden, what is push over? I don't understand this word. Is it good or bad? Is it here somewhere? I don't remember writing push over. Golden, push over depends on the context that you use it. So obviously push is doing this action to a person. Push over means that you make them fall down. So push, I'm pushing, and this person falls down. So if you say a person is a push over, it could be negative or positive depending on the situation. If your teacher, for example, should give you homework because you need to do big exams at the end of the year, and every day the students complain, oh teacher, we don't want homework, and finally the teacher says, oh okay guys, no homework today, oh yay, then that teacher is a push over, and it's negative because the teacher is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're just following like what the students want and allowing them to push them around. But sometimes, like if you have a good relationship with someone, and I don't know, and now and then you can say that maybe they let you, I don't know, a parent lets their children stay up late one time per week. You're such a pushover, but sometimes it's okay a bit. So it just depends on the context. Cassia, you can undertake a decision. Not really. You can't undertake a decision. No, you make a decision. You don't, some people say take a decision. I don't personally. You would undertake to do something. Instead of saying, I decided to do something, you would say she undertook to. But you wouldn't use them together, I think. Hyro, perfect. I'll pay attention to the context for using them. No problem, Hyro, awesome. Amelia, if we say that someone is a pushover, then it commonly has a negative meaning, like not assertive. Yeah, that's the most typical meaning, Amelia. Yes, that's correct. Okay, so threaten. The union threatened to organize a nationwide strike. I'm missing here a nationwide strike action unless negotiations resumed. Okay, so they're threatening negative action. Refuse. Refuse communicates a deliberate decision not to act. Despite repeated requests, the witness refused to identify the individuals involved. Then we have volunteer. Volunteer emphasizes willingness without being asked. Several retired engineers volunteered to mentor young entrepreneurs. I love that word. It's one of my favorite words ever. One feature of this pattern is that it makes reporting more economical. Okay? Now, let me see here. Mr. Foster, undertake is formal version of take on. It has a different meaning though, because it gives a different feeling. If you undertake, so she took on more responsibilities, but you undertake to do something. And undertake implies that it's going to take a long time or be difficult. If you take on another responsibility, it's not necessarily going to be difficult or take a long time. But they're kind of in the same field, Mr. Foster, yeah. Okay, so let's compare these two versions, right? The minister said, so said is very basic, guys. It's very much like level, so if you're using said, it's for like A1 to maximum B1, okay? Really, if you're level B2, you should be trying to use different reporting verbs, not only say and tell, okay? So the minister said that she would introduce further reforms. And as you can see, look, we have the minister, right? And then because I use say, I need to repeat again the minister. So I need to repeat her 2 times. So this is not very economical with my words. Whereas if I use pledge, now I don't need to repeat the minister. So the minister pledged to introduce further reforms. So it's the same person, and I don't need to repeat the person. Okay? Roxo, claimed for pledge, they're not the same. Announce, it's different also, because announce is not the same as promise, and claim is not the same as promise, is it, guys? Pledge is a promise, you know? Amelia, entrepreneur is one of the words I've tended to miswrite when I was studying to reach between. Yeah, really? Yeah, I love that word, and I love the noun entrepreneurship. Love it. Golden could be mentioned. No, because you wouldn't say mention instead of promise. Alina declared that she would. You see, it's different. Declare is more like claim or announce. Alina, declare is like announce, like what Cassia is saying. Querer, I think declared is like announce. It's not promise though. He declared that he would. No, because it's very different. Because if you say he declared his undying love, it's like he vocalized it. But the other one he promised to love her forever. He promised to do something, you know. And always I think when you declare something, you say it to a lot of people. Mr. Foster, do you have any favorite entrepreneurs, Vikki? Some famous ones? Yeah, I do have. Let me see. Like an oath. It's like an oath, kind of like an oath. Exactly, Roxo. Yeah, I do. I do have some favorite entrepreneurs. Yeah, quite a lot of them. But I generally, anybody who has their own business, who started their own business, I admire, to be honest. Anyone who started it and built it from the ground up, from zero, I really admire these people a lot. Alina, you got it? Cool. Amelia, so pledge would be closer to swear. Yeah, like swear. Like when someone swears to get revenge. Yes, that's a good one. Yeah. Take an oath to swear. Yes. Good job, guys. Well done. The second sentence is shorter, more precise, and more characteristic of formal English. Okay? Vikki, could you pronounce oath again? Yeah, oath. No, oath. That's how I said it anyway. Oath. Oath. Not like what? Not like the cereal you have for breakfast, which would be oat, but oath. Okay, the TH in English is really important, isn't it? Like the, their, them. We really use the tongue. Cambridge frequently rewards candidates who replace say with a more accurate reporting verb, 100%. In your speaking, in your writing, definitely. Okay, compare these subtle differences. The spokesperson said the company would investigate the allegations. So again, we have to mention the spokesperson for the company, obviously. And then we have to mention again the company. Okay, so we have to mention 2 times who's speaking about this. Hello, Irina. Or we can use promise, and now we don't need to repeat the company. Okay, we understand that the spokesperson is the company, or representing the company. So the spokesperson promised to investigate the allegations. Okay, so we're being really economical with our words here, which is a sign of a more advanced speaker of the language. Now, hey, if you guys asked me to do this in Spanish, my second language, it would also be difficult for me, eh? So the spokesperson undertook to investigate the allegations. Okay, so obviously if you're going to investigate allegations, it's going to be difficult and it's probably going to take a long time. So here we can use undertook. It would sound a bit strange to say swore in this case, you know. An oath is a noun. It's not a verb. You can swear an oath though. Take an oath and swear an oath, I think. Maybe make. I have to check that one about oath actually. I think it's take, swear, and maybe make. But I'm going to check. But you need a verb. You need a verb for oath. Amelia, I've once used say one's rhymes as a substitute. Thank you, Samara, thank you. as a substitute for say in my Cambridge essay. I once used say once rhymes as a substitute for say. Say once rhymes. What do you mean? Say once rhymes. I'm not sure what you mean, Amelia. This idiom is pretty catchy and funny. I don't get it. Say once rhymes. I'm lost now with that. Like this idiom to express an opinion. I don't know what that is now. Say once rhymes. I'm lost now. I'm not getting that at all. It's not, nothing is coming to me about say once rhymes with that. You'll have to explain it to me a bit more. Okay. So, the spokesperson undertook to investigate the allegations. The spokesperson pledged to investigate the allegations. Although all four report similar information, they create very different impressions. So, promise sounds personal, right? Everybody knows this. Undertake sounds contractual and professional, while pledge suggests a highly public commitment. That's a really nice thing to remember there, guys, to distinguish between them. Golden, this B2C1 words are for writing or speaking, because isn't it rare to speak with these words, or it's fine. They are very good if you use them in your speaking. If you use this in your speaking in an exam, the examiners would love you. You know, obviously, it depends on your level. It's much easier to remember this and write it than to speak it, you know. But for sure, if you can say this in your speaking exam, you would get more points. Absolutely. Reporting verbs also communicate attitude. Really, really important. Okay. So let's compare these examples. The committee agreed to postpone the decision. The committee threatened to postpone the decision. The committee volunteered to postpone the decision. So all four give a totally different attitude about the committee and their stance on what's happening. You know, agree is nice, refuse is very strong, threatened, you know, volunteered is nice. So only one word changes, yet the reader immediately understands the relationship between the speakers, their intentions, and the surrounding circumstances. So they're really, really important. Amelia, sorry, I meant run one's rhymes when someone wants to express their opinion. Run one's rhymes. I've never heard that. Run one's rhymes. Adjourn is another nice synonym if high level for postpone. Yeah, it is. Especially in the courtroom. You can say adjourn. Yeah. But I don't know if you adjourn a decision. You adjourn a sitting in the courtroom, right? But I don't think you can adjourn a decision. This is one reason reporting verbs appear so frequently in newspaper articles. Journalists rarely write, the Prime Minister said, okay? Instead, they prefer the Prime Minister pledged to, or the Prime Minister refused to, the Prime Minister agreed to, the Prime Minister undertook to, but not said. No? Yeah, exactly, Mr. Foster, that's right. The choice of reporting verb immediately tells the reader how the statement should be interpreted. So this is very important, you know. This is why interpreters need to study such details, because one word, the reporting verb, can completely change the feeling that you give to your audience and the attitude. That's really, really important. Can you imagine if you're doing interpretation for, I don't know, politicians who have, I'm not going to say it, you know, like one word can change everything. If you're interpreting for someone or translating and you translate the reporting verb incorrectly, they could have a totally different opinion of you, you know, or the person you're translating for. So when reading newspapers or academic articles, notice how rarely professional writers rely on say. Yeah, so in kids' books, I don't have one here right now, but we always see say. The blue elephant said, the pink mouse said. But you're not going to hear this or see this in newspapers, you know. You're going to see different reporting verbs that transmit more information. Instead, they choose reporting verbs that summarize both the message and the speaker's intention in a single verb. Mastering these verbs not only improves grammatical accuracy, but also makes your writing considerably more concise, sophisticated, and appropriate for Cambridge C1 Advanced. Okay? Cool. So now it's quiz time, right? We'll go step by step with this. So today I've done 2 infinitive, and tomorrow I'm going to do, I hope tomorrow, verbs with ing. Okay? So, question 1, which reporting verb best completes the sentence? Following months of negotiations, both parties to resume formal trade discussions. So is it A, threatened, B, volunteered, C, agreed, or D, guaranteed? Following months of negotiations, both parties to resume formal trade discussions. Good job, guys. Well done. Cassia, Alina, Roxo, Mr. Foster, well done. Saska, awesome. Good job, Amelia. Agreed, exactly. Well done. Yeah, they agreed to resume formal trade discussions. Exactly, yeah. So agree, this is used when 2 or more parties reach a mutual decision after discussion or negotiation. Awesome, Irina, well done. Amelia, so could these be declare, state, assert? So he declared, he stated, he asserted, or remarked. Yeah, yes, but the point is we need to learn what happens after those. Like with declare, for example, you have to use that plus clause. So he declared that he would. He declared to. Maybe I make it declared to make. He stated. You have to use a that clause after stated as well. He asserted also with that. He remarked that also. So you have to just be careful what happened. The key is what happens. It's one thing to translate the verb, but it's another thing to know what you need to do after the verb. Can we say arrived at a decision? You can, Roxo. But you have to, we arrived at a decision. Okay, next one. Number 2, which reporting verb best completes the sentence? The charity to provide temporary accommodation for families displaced or relocated by the flooding after several volunteers came forward to help. So is it A, agreed, B, threatened, C, volunteered, or D, refused? Really nice phrasal verb there, guys, as well, to come forward. Yay, good job, guys. Yeah, Alina, Roxo, Cassia, Mr. Foster, yeah, Amelia, Irina, Saska, good job. So they volunteered to provide accommodation. Awesome. Volunteer means to offer your services willingly without being asked or paid. The other verbs do not express voluntary assistance. Okay, so if we say agreed, for example, it's not, you're not, you probably want money or something like that, and somebody asked you to do it. Question 3. Hang on. I have an idea. Oh no, I can't show you this. And how can I now fix that mistake? Because, hang on, 1 second. I can fix this. I can fix this. Hang on. Right. I'm just gonna change all of the answers. Hang on a second. Oh my god. Okay. Right. Now, get this thing back over here. Okay, I changed it. Okay, the answer is no longer what you think it is. Okay, I changed it. So, which reporting verb best completes the sentence? The environmental organisation to challenge the government's decision before the High Court if the proposal was approved. The environmental organisation to challenge the government's decision before the High Court if the proposal was approved. So refused, offered, guaranteed, or threatened. You guys are too smart. just shine that memory erasing lamp on us in these cases. Everybody got it correct anyway. Okay, you guys are too good. Cassia, good job. Alina, Roxo, Saska, Irina, yeah, Amelia, well done. No, Amelia, no, sorry. It is threatened. It's D. It's D. It's this one. Yeah, I tried to catch you guys, but no, you're too good. It was D. So, threaten expresses an intention to take negative action if certain conditions are met. So, it's threaten to challenge. Threaten to challenge. Yes. Okay. Slowly. Which reporting verb best completes this sentence? Which reporting verb best completes this sentence? The witness, to answer any further questions despite repeated requests from investigators. Is it agreed, volunteered, refused, or pledged? So the witness to answer any further questions despite repeated requests from investigators. Thank you. I speak English, but damn. Hello, Nicole, is it? Good job, guys. Yeah, well done. Yeah, Amelia, Alina, Saska, Gastia, Roxo, Irina, good job. Mr. Foster, Amelia, awesome. Yeah, it's refused. So what you need to remember here, obviously we know what refuse is, no? But refuse to answer, not refuse answer, refuse answering. Good job, Amelia. Refused to answer, okay? Refuse means to deliberately decide not to do something. The other reporting verbs express willingness or commitment rather than rejection. Okay, question 5. Which reporting verb best completes the sentence? Although no legal action had been initiated, the pharmaceutical company to fund an independent review of its safety procedures. So although no legal action had been initiated, the pharmaceutical company to fund an independent review of its safety procedures. So A, refused, B, offered, C, agreed, or D, guaranteed. What do you think? Okay, we've got some mixed answers here. Let me see. Roxo, you got it. It was, yeah, Amelia, you got it. Irina, you got it. Offered, yeah. Because there's no legal action had been initiated. So they have no obligation to fund a review. They have no obligation to do this. So it's an offer because they don't have to do it. They just decided to do it. Exactly, Amelia, yeah. They're doing it willingly without any requests. That was the answer. Well done. Good job. Yeah, offered. Okay. So B, offer expresses a voluntary willingness to do something that has not been demanded or legally required. Okay. Offered showed the eagerness. I guess, yeah. I suppose it depends on you. Yeah. If you're eager making your offer or not. Number 6, which reporting verb best completes the sentence? Following an independent inquiry into the incident, the manufacturer to compensate every customer affected by the faulty product. So, following an independent inquiry into the incident, the manufacturer to compensate every customer affected by the faulty product. So is it A, pledged, B, volunteered, C, undertook, or D, agreed? What do you guys think? Are you thinking pledged? Okay. I was thinking a different one. Everybody's thinking pledged. Yeah, Roxo, I was agreeing with Roxo. Undertook. Because can you imagine to compensate every customer affected by the faulty product? That's going to take a long time. Probably it's going to be difficult. So I was going there with, yeah, Mr. Foster, I was going with C, was what I was going with. Why? Undertook is the most appropriate verb because it expresses the formal acceptance of a legal or contractual obligation. So when you have a product, when you sell a product to your customers, you have a contract with them. The others express commitment or willingness but lack this legal nuance. Okay, so undertook. They're lacking this legal nuance that undertake has. Question 7. Which reporting verb completes the sentence? The manufacturer to replace every defective product after an internal investigation confirmed the fault. The manufacturer, okay, we have a second opportunity. To replace every defective product after an internal investigation confirmed the fault. Yes! Good job, Irina. Undertook again. Okay, it was B, undertook. Because you have a contract. If you're a manufacturer and you create a product for someone, yeah, it was B. He undertook to replace. Undertook to replace. Yeah. Yeah, no, because there was an internal investigation. So by contract, he needs to, and they confirmed that there was a fault with the product. So he had to undertook to replace all of them. Okay, super. Yeah. Yeah. It expresses a formal commitment to carry out a specific action, particularly in legal, contractual, and corporate contexts. Okay. And the last question, question 8. Which reporting verb best completes the sentence? The university to refund the tuition fees if the course was cancelled before the start of the academic year. So the university to refund the tuition fees if the course was cancelled before the start of the academic year. What do you guys think? Yeah! Irina, you got it. Saska, you got it. Roxo, you got it. Sebastian, you got it. Well done. Good job, guys. It was B. Guaranteed. That's it. Okay, so they guaranteed. Yes. The university guaranteed to refund the tuition fees if the course was cancelled before the start of the academic year. You know those cases, they say, okay, we want to have this course, so everybody can pay, but if in the end we don't have enough people to do the course, we're going to give the money back. So they guaranteed to give the money back. Golden, why not threatened? No, because you wouldn't threaten people at your university. No, if the students are paying to go to university, you're not going to threaten them. You would guarantee to refund the fees if the course doesn't go ahead. If there are not enough people, usually courses don't go ahead because there's not enough people. Yes, Sebastian, threatened has a very negative connotation, like always, very negative one. Awesome. Okay, guys, well, that's what I wanted to cover today. Guarantee expresses a formal assurance that something will happen if certain conditions are met. Okay? Cool. Awesome. So, guys, I'm going to say goodbye because I gotta go to running now. But tomorrow, my plan is to continue on. We want to build on this. Amelia, threaten has a negative meaning. It's like to tell someone something to frighten them. Yeah, it is, Amelia. It's like, if you don't do this, I'm going to do that, which is going to hurt you. All right, Alina. Awesome. Okay, guys, I hope you're welcome, Saska. I hope you have a lovely evening. Tomorrow, my intention is to show you the reporting verbs that take ing after, okay? For example, complain, apologize, accuse. And then maybe I'll do a quiz and mix everything together, the two with infinitive and the ing, and see if you can tell which one we need to use, okay? You're welcome, Golden. You're welcome, Cassia. Thanks, Roxo. Awesome, Mr. Foster. That's cool. Okay. All right, Amelia. That's awesome. Okay. So we'll be back tomorrow, and I'm going to build on this. We'll do the ing. Okay. Have a lovely evening, guys.